give me a post-workout chat. What?
A post-workout channel?
What does that mean?
Did he say a post-workout channel?
No, he said give me a post-workout chat.
Chat?
What does that mean? Let you in.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where you're reading that. Oh, probably like in the thing here. I'll just look. So this is actually perfect.
The podcast
give me a post-workout chat. It means let me. Okay.
You know, it's actually perfect given the context of a couple of the things we were talking about.
Go ahead, introduce yourself, Hotboy. Welcome to the start of stream.
Wait, did you actually start the stream?
Yeah.
Oh, then we can't say one of the things. Yeah, we'll do it after stream.
Okay.
I need no introduction. I am famous, not infamous, in the community for my grand healing spell I issued on the entire community ages ago. It's been a while, but yeah. Now I'm only a parasite, but you know, it is what it is. You live. What's the adage? You either live long enough to be a hero, or whatever. You die a hero,
or you live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah.
One of those.
I'm at that stage. I've lived too long, I guess. No, I'm no, like I don't.
So what is your wrath as a villain going to consist of?
I don't know. Actually, I lied. I'm not even a I guess the villain arc would be like if I was a big Boruto hater, but I'm not. So I guess like I lied.
Well, it's okay. We have the perfect idea for you that we'll tell you off of stream.
Oh, off of stream. Why
Yes.
not? Is it that confidential? Really? Can't tell me.
Well, it would kind of, just in case, it would kind of defeat the purpose if the viewers heard it live. So.
Oh,
but I think you would enjoy it.
You guys are like legit trying to give me a suggestion or something, like, or is it like a collaborate? Like what?
More towards the latter. Yeah.
Like it will not just be. You'll be joining in with us. It'll be fun.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if it's just simply sitting and talking, I'm all game for that. But if there's like more effort other than that, I'll be honest. I'm probably
not too many.
I don't think it'll take that much effort. I think it'll just be fun for us.
Listen, I've been procrastinating enough on my writing. So I mean, like, yeah.
It's a very simple task that we have in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh, by the way, was it you, Kamui, that was the main corroborator to have Six like literally only talk about JJK?
I was literally gonna get into that. That's so funny.
Oh well, no, that wasn't our initial intent, to be honest. We were planning on talking a lot of Naruto too.
There was no avenue for me to jump in there and talk because you guys, I don't care about JJK, and now I can't get that. Albeit, all of the, I guess the broader audience, I don't think even remembers me in the drama and stuff. Me and Six are actually chill. Like we've talked like a couple of times since then.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you guys had drama. I think Oodie had mentioned at some point, but I didn't know anything about it.
Kamui...
it was really what it was. It was a whole lot of nothing. I mean, the reality is, Six makes content along the same lines of what a lot of other people do. I mean, I can criticize anyone else as well.
But before getting into it, let's just see who's objectively correct in this case. Kamui, yes or no? Is Minato a psychopath?
We're doing this again?
Just go ahead. Before we get into it, just get it out there.
I guess I would have to look up the definition. I mean, no, I would at first glance I would not call Minato a psychopath.
All right, there you go. That's all.
But
we
you
needed.
can question his decisions. I wouldn't call him a psychopath.
Sure. Okay, that's all. That's good.
It's not even. It's not even a question. It's not. It's like it's just proposing the question itself. You're already 10 miles away from any baseline understanding of the story. Just to be clear.
I mean, I think it's a fun. I know that he made that video. I don't think I watched it, but I think it's a fun idea to like take the silly question and just really break it down like nitty gritty. But like, yeah, I mean, at first glance, no, I'm not gonna accuse him of being a psychopath.
Yeah, well,
I mean, like, okay, The actual the problem is, during that whole discussion I had a long time ago, and not that it even matters, because like I said, it was over a year ago at this point, which is actually crazy to think about. But like the main issue with that entire discussion is, I mean, I was just ill prepared and inept for it, because I was super nervous. I had never been in anything live before, and I already have like a propensity for anxiety when it comes to public speaking and stuff. Literally after that, I actually started live streaming after the fact, and then I got pretty used to it, and so now
Yeah, I was gonna say, because when you've been on ours, I didn't get the feeling that
well,
you
no,
were
yeah, 'cause
nervous.
it's no biggie for me now, right? Well, because I mean, I stream on my own channel all the time, and it's fine. It's just, yeah, that really disabled me from actually making a compelling enough argument. Genuinely, like it's as simple as this. It's like, hey, when you have the tone of this video, I don't think it's justifiable to have a tone of, okay, let's seriously break this down. I would actually say, oh, it's a passable video if he came out right away and said like, Omega Law, is Minato a psychopath? You guys are fucking stupid for even asking the question, because the real answer is, if you call Minato a psych, or if you're even considering Minato as a psychopath, what you're essentially doing is you're taking out the equation of the shinobi condition off base, right? Because if we take out the context of the shinobi condition, everyone's a psychopath in Naruto, including
That's
Naruto.
the problem. Yeah, like too many
like
people.
it's just an absolute, it's like asinine on top of asinine. It's such a stupid question, and to even entertain it seriously, like to seriously entertain it, is kind of stupid too, because it's simple as saying like, guys, like they're like they're constantly immersed in war and battle and bloodshed. Like obviously they have to be, they get conditioned at a certain point to be used to certain, that's how the human mind operates, right? Like we have coping mechanisms inbuilt, and one of the main coping mechanisms we have is our adaptability to painful stuff. Most people adapt really quickly to like the harshest conditions, and that eventually becomes normalcy, and we're able to still live and not necessarily thrive, but we're able to survive at the very least in some of the worst conditions. That's how like humanity has persisted for so long, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm using a real world perspective in my analogy here, because what is the shinobi condition if not the human condition? That's like the whole point of Naruto, is like you can't distinguish shinobi from human, and that's like the fundamental thing, right? Isn't like shinobi aren't tools, yada yada yada. But yeah. But anyway, yeah. So it's just a, like, if you have any understanding of the story at all, it's such a stupid, like. And then again, and I got a lot of flack for not even watching the beginning of the video. I watched like the first 3 minutes, and he was really taking the question seriously. Like, bro, like you should just laugh at it. Like it's just a stupid, it's a stupid question.
Yeah, I think you're just having fun with the video topic, if I had to guess, because like you can do that with a lot of stuff. Like you can entertain the dumbest premise just for the sake of it, and it's like I don't have a problem with that. But like the obvious answer is, I'm sure he concluded no, he's not a psychopath, if I had to guess.
Well, yeah, but again, like, and that's like that's the fault I had, is because I don't think I ever hammered it home well enough. Is like my issue with it is not that I assumed he said, oh, Minato is a psychopath. I just thought it was just a dumb topic in of itself. I don't care where he got it from. It's just
Yeah.
But I get it. Like the problem is, I get the drive, I get the ambition to want to do it, right? Because it's like, it's, if you see a lot of people talking about it, obviously people care enough about it to click on the fucking
Yeah, I
video.
think he may have heard it from. I'm just guessing. I think he may have gotten a lot of comments about it,
He
or
did, yeah.
requests to do a video on it or something.
What he was doing,
like where he would have come up.
He was
with
doing
it
like an
otherwise.
NC Hammer type of video.
Even that I don't understand. Yeah, like it's not even that I don't understand the drive to want to do something like that. Like, of course I do, but.
Yeah, just it wasn't his take. He got it from the community, and then he was just seriously addressing it for the video. And then so Hotboy wasn't specifically calling Six out. I mean, I guess he technically did by saying the video, but he was saying like videos like this one referencing Six's videos are blah blah blah. So it's not like he saw this video.
Doing that, right? Like I'm literally like, his videos also in this package, right? And
yeah.
I used his specifically as an example. That's something that he had a lot of issue with, but it was simply literally like he caught a stray simply because it was the one that was recommended to me, and what made me, I was like, oh, another one of these. And then that was like that one specific night. I was like, I felt compelled to say something about it. Got a lot of flack for it, of course, but
feels like something
I don't take
like
back anything I said.
yeah. Feels like something Naruto Explained would do, just covering like the community's random thoughts about something and then essentially just debunking it, but having it be the title or whatever.
No, yeah, well, I don't have any fault with that specifically. Like,
no, I'm not. Yeah, I agree. The funny thing about this drama for me though, watching it was, and you'll so it's not just so. First of all, the same day Hotboy made this community post, just for context for Kamui and the audience. The same day Hotboy made this community post, because they had never talked before. Like, Hotboy wasn't expecting this to happen. He wasn't directly calling Six out. Six is notified of this by his fan base or whatever on Twitter. Six
Let's go.
Gets on stream. Hotboy Spicy gets on stream. They are streaming at the same time. They get in call for the first time ever. Keep in mind, just to discuss this. They weren't expecting this. And then Swag and Seth jump on as well. 10 minutes into the call.
Oh, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, Swag and fucking Seth the programmer. But the funny thing is about, so in actuality, if you actually watched it, it's mostly me and Seth talking. Actually, Six barely talks. Swag, and mind you, I'm going off memory, but I think I remember this really well, again, because it was not necessarily traumatizing for me. Again, I was running on a lot of adrenaline because of several different factors. Like, not only, like, it was literally a trial by fire, because again, I was already super nervous by the idea of getting in front of a bunch of people live. And not only was I getting in front of a bunch of people live, but then I get jumped by 3 people besides for Six, 2 of which have like a huge fan base. And it's like, holy fucking shit. I get that I started this shit, but fuck, man. Like, I already have like a propensity for anxiety. This is fucked. No. But again, once I got about halfway through, that kind of rubbed off, and I was like, fine for the most part. But I was if I was better equipped, that discussion would have ended a lot quicker, because genuinely, like, it was more simple, and I was talking too much. I didn't really have to say as much as I did, but when anxiety is running that high, you can't really think through all your points adequately enough to kind of briefly run it down, right? Like, you just, my mind was going a mile a minute, essentially. But the funny thing is about that is my drama kind of got swept under the rug. It was actually nothing, because the funny thing is, the Seth the Programmer fucking the leaks or whatever came out like days out, not even like a week later. Seth the Programmer was getting a lot of what would you say, allegations against him of some nefarious acts.
That's crazy. That was a year ago at this point, like, almost. That's crazy.
No, that was over. Yeah, it was well over a year ago.
Really?
Yeah. That was like,
I didn't feel like it was that long. Damn.
That was like in December of 22. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The absurdity of the situation is just so walkie-talkie certified goofy to me. Like, here you are, I don't want to say introverted, but like you weren't, like you were saying, like you were shy and nervous or whatever, because you weren't expecting this to happen in the first place. Swag and Seth were big at the time, and that doesn't underestimate Six. You weren't expecting all 3 of them, let alone even one of them, to even talk to them same day, let alone at all. And then here they are on stream live. And then it's not just the fact that you're talking to them unexpectedly. It's the fact that Seth in particular was being relentless. And then, like, Swag and Six are obviously, like, going hard too. But it was like, oh my god. 3v1.
Yeah, I can imagine that, because Seth will be... I'm not surprised that he was the one to do most of the talking, because... I mean, for a long time, his whole thing was kind of just debating people, and so, like, of course, he's just gonna go right through that.
Like, this is another issue I have. Like, again, if I had even one day of experience streaming and I got that anxiety off my chest, right? Because I'm actually a pretty damn good debater. I could have fucking, dude, I had the arguments there. I could not eloquently convey them because I was so fucked in the head at that time. Had I been in the right headspace, dude, there's like a million ways I could have just shut. Seth is actually, he's not a good debater. I'm so sorry, but he's not. He's just not. He's not really that great. Maybe it's just because I watched so many really good debaters that are way smarter than me and that would destroy me in a debate. But Seth is like, I'm at the point now. I feel like I wish I could talk to the guy again, and there's something we could debate over. I'd love to fucking debate him. He'd be great practice, I feel like. But I mean, at this point, I'm starting to get into the practice now. I have a guy in my community, Sensei Krolon, where we've been talking, and he wants to get better at like not only conversation but debating as well, because that kind of helps. It goes kind of hand in hand. I was like, hey, dude, a really good practice for me is if I start arguing shit that I disagree with, because I've never really had practice with that. Like, I genuinely like debating. It's really fun for me. And since I get so much fun of it, I'm pretty good at it. Generally, the things I have invested interest in, I kind of practice and I get really good at. And debating's one of them. So we had one debate where I was arguing something I completely disagree with. I did way better than I ever thought I would. I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do this. Maybe I need to start practicing this shit. But yeah, no, I'd love to talk to Seth again, especially because he seems to be, or at the time, he seemed to be fucking infatuated with me, because the next day he couldn't stop fucking tweeting about me. It was bizarre. I even said, I replied to one of his tweets about me. I was like, bro, why are you so fucking obsessed? It's like it was fun. It was fun. Like, let it pass, brother. Let it pass. It was interesting. His tweets were something else. What did he say? He gave like this. It was like a whole. It was almost poetic. It was like, for Hotboy Spicy, I do this. I don't remember. God, I wish I could remember the tweet. It was so fucking stupid. It was essentially hailing me as a god. Ironically, of course, it was like hailing me as a god. It's kind of funny, but
no. So
whatever. Anyway,
for reference for Kamui and those who just aren't in the know, what Seth was doing on call in that live stream was essentially that for like the whole time, in a way to sort of make fun of him. Like Six, how could you possibly go against the dear Lord and Savior Hotboy Spite? Like, he doesn't know who you are or anything. He's just out of nowhere. Like, he was being very obvious about it. But
the thing is, like, even in the stream, I kept going, Seth, bro, you gotta engage with me. Like, that's something I said time and time again. The funny thing about Seth doing that is people who hated me off that stuff, the people who went and watched my videos, I had numerous comments saying like, hey, I still dislike you as a person, but I cannot lie, you aren't fibbing about your content. Your content is good. I subscribe. I was like, okay, well, shit. Honestly, that's all I fucking care about. You can hate me, but if you like what I'm producing, fuck it, I don't care. That's good. Hey, glad you guys, I got several comments like that. Well, more than several actually, but even one, I caught a stray on like my Shanks video that went nowhere. I was really hoping would go somewhere. It was like only like 4 minutes long. Someone commented, he's like, I'm here from the Six stuff. Yeah, you make really good videos. I just wish you weren't a shitty fucking person. I was like, okay, well, yeah, that'd be true. Anyway,
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I will say though, the JJK thing wasn't planned. It was kind of one of those things on that stream where we were talking about it and we were just still going. I was like, I can have him on again. We'll just do Naruto that next one.
Yeah, we'll get you on that time.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's not going to be anything. It's not going to be confrontational. Again, me and Six, we've talked at least twice after that, and like we're chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he even commented on when I still had it up, and I wish I'm so stupid. So the lore here on that video with the Daigo Night debate I had, that I recorded and I eventually uploaded. Like, I uploaded it like three months after I recorded that debate. And when I uploaded it, and it was up on my channel for a while, Six actually commented. He seemed to be really he left several comments. He seemed to be really enjoying it. I thought that was funny. I was like, oh, okay. He's like watching. I didn't know Six would ever like be interested in my content, especially after that debacle. But hey, kudos to him that he doesn't really care about it anymore. I don't either, so that's cool. Good on him. I respect that. But people seem to be really enjoying it, and I was like, okay, cool. My dumbass, when I was applying for jobs, and I had a really good chance for about 3 of them before I settled on the job I was like, oh man, they all know about my channel. What if? Because at that time, the Daigo Night debate was the first video on my channel. So I was like, bro, if it's the most recent video, the odds that they click on that one are kind of high. I don't want that to be the first one they see, and they see me like cussing a lot, fucking like getting really, really heated. I just don't. That's not going to be good for like a corporate environment. They're going to fucking hate me. They're not going to take me. Instead of fucking privating it for a little while, my dumbass delete. I don't know why I did that, and I did that a lot back then. I would just delete videos instead of privating them. I don't do that anymore. Like for instance, my Sakura video that I hate, it's still private. Like it's still there. If you have the link, you can still watch it. I never deleted it. But it's just you can't see it, right? If you don't have the link. But yeah, I should have privated that Daigo Knight until I got hired, and then I should have, put it out to public again. I don't know why I didn't do that. That's stupid. So now it's gone.
Right, because, I did that with one podcast from.
I don't even have the.
School. I hated myself for that.
Yeah, I don't even have the MP4 file for it anymore because my whole computer got reset a few months back because my one of my hard drives got uber corrupted, believe it or not, from the Wii U emulator. Somehow that emulator, the Breath of the Wild files in it, completely like almost destroyed my hard drive, and I had to like do so many things to like clean it the fuck out, and that reset, and it just ended up resetting my entire PC. So I had to start from scratch.
Actually, I remember
lost, like, all my files.
You had uploaded it on the Google Drive, and so that's not obviously related to your hardware. It might still be there.
Did I upload it on Google Drive? Did I send it on Google Drive?
Because that's how Cam sent it to me originally. Before...
Wait, you might have.
Yeah.
You might have just unlocked the video for the community again. Hold on, let me check.
Yeah.
In real time, let's see.
Because I think that's how I watched it, actually.
No.
It was before you uploaded the video on your YouTube channel. I watched it that way because Cam sent it to me.
Oh, I did put it on Discord before, didn't I? Oh, you didn't give me a view, you fucker. That's fine. So I have 2 Google Drives. I'm probably looking at the wrong one because this isn't my YouTube channel Google Drive. Yeah, this wouldn't be it. I'd have to go to my phone.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
While I'm checking, you guys talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about.
Yeah, there was a lot of good Otsutsuki debates in that Daigo Knight debate that you had, so hopefully you can get that back. I think it's really funny though that Six chose that one in particular to comment a lot on because Six don't like that dude Daigo Knight. Like it's kind of funny.
I do have it.
Did we get them both on the podcast? Both Daigo and Six.
You said you have it though?
Great. I have it. Yeah, it's right here. Right. Diapernight.mp4. I actually have it. That's crazy. Oh my god. I forgot I put this on my Google Drive. Oh, thanks for reminding me, man. Hey, it's still alive. It can still be re-uploaded. Let's go. I have it. Yeah. Fuck. I forgot I did that.
I demand half the credit now. No, that's a joke. But actually, we do have Daigo Knight coming on this Sunday again. So there you go.
Oh, I didn't even know you've had it on before. Hey, I'll fucking join on. I'll swat up.
We've actually had him on twice. The second time was only for a brief period. We were looking at one of his videos, and he just happened to come on. But that seemed.
Kamui, do we have the statement? Audience. Do we have the statement from then? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. I think I might actually remember it. Okay, hold on.
No, we need the picture. Well, I guess if you remember it, it's fine.
I gotta think of it in my head. Okay. And you would be right. He did all that. Hold on.
I
remember he says, and you would be right. He did all that. He didn't do all that. I think it was. Hold on. Oh god, where did we put it? Well, besides art.
No. I'll never be able to find it.
I want to say it perfect. I don't know if we have the full. Well, I mean, we have the short version. I can give you that. He didn't do all that just because of Rin. He did all that only because of Rin. But I wouldn't know the full thing.
Okay.
Wait, is this like a Daigo Knight take? I'm confused.
So in a video,
in one of his videos, he said it was about like Obito starting the war with Rin, and he said he didn't do all that just. It's like, and you would be right. He didn't do all that just because of Rin. He did all that only because of Rin.
What do you think about that?
He's actually so true. That's kind of similar to what I say in my Obito video, actually. I think you copied me.
Well, there you go. All right. We got a Daigo supporter here.
No, I mean, like my thing is kind of a Gotti moment in my video because it's supposed to be. I remember watching someone did like a live reaction to that video. I remember, and whenever I said, I don't remember what I fucking say in that. It's something like when Obito says it doesn't really have a lot to do with rain. He's like lying, and it like has everything to do with rain. He was like, no. And then when I got to explain, he was like, oh, okay. I love that reaction. So funny. He's like, because every time I say something like kind of like prose written, he'll go bars. Our reaction's funny, man. It's been a while since I watched that. I gotta watch that again. That shit gets me. But
Boy, the funniest thing is, so the reason.
What month we did this?
Wait, what's up, Kamui?
Do you have any memory of what month we did this?
No, I have no idea. Well, so Hotboy, it's funny because the reason we had Daigo on the first time, which wasn't this time, it was before this, but the reason we had him on like a year ago, it was actually, I only thought to ask him because of the debate I saw that you do with him. At the time, the community had, talked about what kind of YouTuber Daigo was at the time. And so I was like, this might be funny to get him on. Turns out, that was by far the biggest difference in expectations I have ever had, because I expect to be the worst podcast we ever did. It was actually my personal favorite podcast we've ever done in terms of, like, quality. Like, it was the most compelling, engaging discussions we've had on the podcast. I don't understand how it happened, but it's so funny.
Yeah, it was actually, like, one of our best podcasts.
What about my debate with that?
Oh, here we go. I found...
Okay, that was pretty lit, huh? Come on now. That's gotta be that. At least one of the highlights.
Kamui, you want to put it in the chat?
Yeah, I still disagree with you on the Obito take. Wait, Space, are you talking to me on the Obito take? Oh, it's that's kind of like a gotcha. My Obito take. It's not like it's a little bit more. There's a little bit more there. It's not about Rin as in Rin. The relationship necessarily. Oh, well, no, the relationship is part of it too. It's not solely about Rin. It's more about what Rin represented in a tainted world, right? He represented that one healing ray of salvation that was a constant for him in such a treacherous environment. The one constant, like Rin literally healed physically, right? Not only mentally was she healing, physically she remedied his ailments, and she was a consistent like light in this dark, trepid world. And what happens when she dies? To him, it's like, oh, that one salvation I had in this fucking pitch black hell is gone.
Yeah,
of course, there's the added effect. There's the
hope is gone.
And yeah, and context matters in these situations, right? There's the added effect of Madara's manipulation, where Obito is in a setting where he's the most isolated and in the most decrepit battlefield, right? Like everything was set up for that disaster to befall him, and the sugar on top, or I would say the straw that broke the camel's back, but it was more like a huge fucking metal rod slamming down on his spinal cord, which was Rin's demise, right? That's like the kicker, of course, because he still held out hope until then. So yeah, again, it's a lot more complex, and it was all to do with Rin. It was pretty much all to do with Rin, but it's less so Rin and more so what she represented to Obito, right?
Exactly. It's what she represented. Rin represented pretty much all the good and hope of the world for Obito. So of course, when Rin's gone, he's like, screw this to everything.
So, Hotboy, I hate what ifs, but I did ask a very interesting question to Kamui, like I think last podcast, 2 podcasts ago. So it's more so like a character study focused on Obito. So like, what do you think Obito's reaction would have been if hypothetically, when he saw Kakashi kill Rin, if Obito also passed out just like Kakashi did? And then like when he came to, what would have been Obito's reaction? Would it have gone the same way narratively, story-wise, or whatever? Like, what would Obito's reaction be?
So had he passed out after seeing Rin die just like Kakashi?
Yes.
That's the
So
what if we're going with, right?
I guess for
This
what
is-
if we need to add in the Mist Ninja or just gonna
The
leave, I
yeah,
guess.
the Mist Ninja
Or
are gonna
Guru
just,
fights
like,
them.
ignore him, I
Yeah,
guess.
so like
Okay, 'cause
Zetsu
that
just
would be, like,
takes
my
him
first
back to
question. What
Madara.
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I would estimate, firstly, if he doesn't see her body. Okay, well, again, there's so many questions, right? Because when you
I
do
think
a
he's gonna
whatever,
go my route
I'm,
from the
take, I'm,
sounds of
I'm
this.
taking so many things into consideration. First, who wakes up first, him or Kakashi?
It's same thing. The only difference here is
That's
just
a
that
very
Obito passes
important
out
question.
too.
What?
Well, I guess.
Okay, but, if he passes out, who
Yeah, I
wakes
guess
up
that is a
first, him
good
or
point.
Kakashi?
He just doesn't know what happens to Kakashi. Like, it's just focused solely on Obito's reaction rather than what happens in the world around him.
Okay, but like, no, his preceding reaction is going to be whether Kakashi wakes up or not is going to be paramount to how because again, if Kakashi wakes up, what will evidently happen is Rin's body will still probably be there if they hadn't missed the village. Fuck off. Like, because if it was all part of Madara's plan, right? It was all deception, all part of Madara's stuff. They're not actually after Rin. But if Kakashi wakes up before Obito, he would take Rin. He would probably notice Obito. So that would be, that would completely change and alter the Obito's fate.
Well, in this case, my Wi-Fi went out for a second, but I think I'm back. I don't know if the stream went down.
Okay. Oh my god, of course it did. Well, on the bright side, I guess we didn't start reviewing the chapter, so it doesn't matter in that perspective. But
You guys still reading JJK? Or
not well.
Did it? It looks like it's still up.
Matter in that perspective, but
No,
Yeah.
it's still going. It's still going. Hello? What the
right
heck?
now, right now I'm reading Kagurabachi. I'm like 10 chapters deep right now.
Nice.
Stream, I think you can hear this. I don't think they can.
Yeah.
Stupid. Where freaking...
I heard it gets like real. It's getting real good.
There we
So
go.
right now I'm just reading Kagura. I'm trying to like get caught
There we
up with
go.
the story.
What?
But
Which one is it?
so far it's pretty decent.
This one? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Okay, apparently it's none of them, so I'm just... Okay, does this
You mean
one work?
chapters 12 and 13?
Bro, why? Why is it not working? Stream, I know you
was
can
just
hear me.
reading chat.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave and rejoin so it happens. There we go, maybe? Maybe now? No? Bro, it's annoying. I don't know.
yeah,
how to fix
actually,
it.
wow,
Oh,
we should probably read chat.
Oh, never mind.
Testing. See, look, it works right here!
Dude,
Why?
watch, dude.
Is it not
Sorry.
working? Oh, now it's working?
Okay, well, we hear you now.
Oh, there. Oh my god, that's so annoying. Jeez. I think streams
But,
actually stayed up, from what I can see. There we go, maybe. Maybe
The
now.
stream stayed up.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going then.
Um,
So where do we leave
yeah,
off
so
at?
never mind, we can actually start.
No, but Kamui, it sounds
Well,
like
we
he
left
actually
off
agrees
at
with
the beginning
me.
of the Mitsuki converse.
With the Hotboy agrees with me on that one.
Wait, what?
No, I'll give you this. It's not like a Viet Minh, like, oh, I'm definitely right, you're definitely wrong. But just based on Hotboy's answer, it seems like he was leaning more towards me. But it's sort of like a compromise between our
What are you talking
answers.
about?
It's that Obito wouldn't go bad at first.
That's not a what? That's not a
No, he'd be in denial. Is what I would
yeah.
say.
Oodie, I don't understand how that's. First of all, I don't even remember what your take on it was. But
That was
second
my
of all,
take.
he said the same thing as me.
Well,
like,
he said the same thing as me,
literally, like,
too!
Paraphrase.
And you didn't remember what I said, so you can't say he didn't say the same thing as me. Repentancy.
Making us debate right now.
We
Like,
said
literally didn't
no,
disagree on
Kamui,
the
we
topic.
didn't disagree, but we didn't agree. We said two different things, but at the end of the day, we said it's really subjective, and we were fine with each other's interpretations. is what really happened.
No, bro. From what I remember, it was just boiled down to the specifics of how the very nitty-gritty specifics of the scene, which is slightly alter what happens. But like, we agreed. Like, as long as we had the same
at the end of the day, it sounds like
right.
you agree with me. That's all that matters now.
No, bro. You agree with me. You asked me the question. I responded first live, meaning you had to have agreed with me.
It's recorded. It's already recorded. We don't have to go back to it, but it's already there for those that do want to go back to it. We can continue on with the live stream. So we have to look forward to the future instead of getting clung up on the past, Kamui. Have you not watched anime before? It's like a narrative mask type thing.
Bruh.
Who hurt you, Kamui?
Say that when you just try to bring up the past and for... Well,
Kamui, how can we move? Right. History repeats itself. How can we move forward with the future without the knowledge of the past?
All you gotta do is just accept that I'm right more often.
But Kamui, we have to support the next generation. It's our ancestors that allowed us successors to succeed.
Immortal's
them.
Here.
Yeah, when are you guys gonna talk about One Piece in this?
As soon as Wit makes it.
Well, there's 1,000 episodes, so I'll say 1,000 days at least.
Oh no!
I'm waiting for the Wit.
I don't know. Eventually, we'll get to it.
Yeah. Wit'll do it.
Yeah,
good.
Get on that shit, man.
Did you like the live action? Because Cam and Sour hated it.
What?
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the live action. It was about what I expected, which isn't necessarily great. There's some really shining moments, mind you, but it's just a worse adaptation on like every marker than the anime is. And I expected that to be the case. It's just, for me personally, there's no room for it. For my entertainment, there's no room for it. The anime, as an adaptation, the anime does everything it did far better. Like, there's just no reason for me to watch it over the anime.
Would you say there's a solid dozen hours worth of calling it an embarrassment to art itself?
It's definitely not an embarrassment to art. It's just not...
Well, I know two people that would disagree. The title of the stream.
So the issue I have with... on a broad scale, right? So when you break it down, music, acting, the added addition of movement, color, all these different things, it's just far better in the anime counterpart, because the anime is able to do so many more things with the medium that it's really hard to do to the same effect in live action. It's just not. One Piece is that kind of story where it really fits in a drawn format, because you're able to do more creative things with it. There's just certain things, obviously, again, like, albeit this is probably a bad example, given the actor for Sanji said he's going to try and do a party table kick course for season 2 or whatever, but I guarantee you it's going to be far-fetched from, well, I guess with wires you could pull it off. But like some of the shit, for instance, like Zoro does, Luffy does, it's just not translatable to live action in an easy sense, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, but again, I think the music's far better in the anime. I think a lot of the I don't want to say the sound design, but I do like the atmosphere in the One Piece anime really fits the tone of the manga, especially in the introduction section. It's a lot more whimsical, a lot more cartoony. I wish there was a better way to describe it, but it does feel more gritty in the live action, which isn't bad. It's great that they're taking their own creative liberties and making it work for live action, and it works for them. Honestly, the going 1-to-1 with it wouldn't work for live action, but the reality is that I prefer the atmosphere in the anime. But this is just talking on like a broad spectrum, right? We're talking about the production and how on every department I just prefer the anime. Even when it comes to the acting, even the actors are great in the One Piece live action. I have some qualms, like for instance with the Zoro casting, even though a lot of people do like it. Oda himself is a huge fan of that actor. I just don't think he plays the role of Zoro well. I just don't think he fits. Like,
you think he was too stiff?
I get it. He acts stoic, but that's not all Zoro is. He's way too stoic. It's way to one side, where you see a lot of Zoro's propensity to get swept away by Luffy. That's part of his charm in early One Piece, is he always tries to act like a stoic badass, but time and time again, Luffy's just demeanor, he gets swept away by it constantly, and he falls prey to Luffy's goofs and gaffes. That's just bereft from the live action. There's so many more examples, especially thematically. Once you get to Baratier, they crucify Sanji's arc in Baratier, for the sake of time and stuff. And where they could have cut out some other shit that's just unnecessary to make it there. A lot of the Garp shit. But regardless, like, a lot of that stuff I really care about. That makes One Piece, for instance. I was actually not, especially on first watch through, I was not a really big fan of One Piece very early on. I thought it was kind of fun, but there wasn't really much substance there for me to latch onto until Baratier. That arc, spectacular. And a lot of it is because of Sanji's really complex arc, Zoro's stuff with his fight with Mihawk, and Luffy for the first time shining as, like, you get a glimpse of the future Pirate King for the first time, like a true glimpse of his grit, his mettle. And it's like all these characters are just shining, and it's so thematically rich. All of it is gone in the live action for the sake of time, for the sake of brevity, and they cut it all out. Sanji's arc is butchered, especially his relationship with Zoro in it. They cut out all that stuff. The little dialogue he has, like, what are you doing? You would sacrifice your life for it, your ambition? Are you insane? Like, all of these little pieces of dialogue are echoes to way future stuff. It's this grand foreshadowing that's echoing to something way beyond anything you'd ever expect. These little pieces of dialogue, right? And they're just not there. And it's just not the One Piece that I fell in love with. It just isn't. It's fundamentally something different. The soul is still there, mind you. The soul is still there, but it's the key details that add up that truly matter to me, right? What made me initially fall in love with early One Piece is just not there in the live action, is what I'm trying to say. And unfortunately, because of that, it'll only ever be kind of whatever for me. I'm not excited like a lot of people are for season 2, because I just, frankly, after watching season 1, I don't care. I don't think it's bad. It's just not One Piece to me. Not the One Piece that I fell in love with and enjoyed.
I know the.
I can guarantee for me, I'm not gonna start One Piece with a live action.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with the actual thing.
Yeah, and that's like that. See, that's another issue I have with the live actions. A lot of people are starting with a live action and not starting from scratch, which I think is it. It is so.
This is shredded.
It's awful. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Again, especially from Baratier, where Sanji is essentially like, he is a shell of a character. He is nothing like his anime manga counterpart. They completely cut out so much of his arc. And then, like, even with Usopp, the Usopp kid pirates are a big part of his arc, and they're not characters in the live action. They're just not they're not there. And it's a big part of his development and his introduction in Surah Village. There's just so much, and it's just gone. But again, the soul is there. They do really well in capturing Luffy. Luffy's great in the live action. They do a great job of translating that character to live action. That's the best thing they do, as a matter of fact, which is what you need to hit, what should be your focal point that you need to hit, and they succeed there. I can't call it bad, especially when they've done Luffy so much justice. But the problem is like so many other surrounding things, I think, are just so muddled because for time's sake and for translating it to live action, where it's just not, it's too different from what One Piece I think fundamentally is in a lot of regards in some places. Some things, for instance, with the huge, and I'm so glad Ichiro Oda, this is what he was the most vocal about. He was really against them doing this, where Garp was a huge part of this entire first season, when in the actual manga and anime, he's not a part of this at all. You don't know about Garp at this point, other than through cover stories, but you don't even know it's Luffy's grandfather. And like,
spoilers.
He's such a huge part, and he plays such a boring fucking role, and it's just, he's the most monotonous part of it. He doesn't really serve much of a purpose, especially by the end of it, because he finally does meet Luffy and they do have this moment. It's literally, if we're talking about the narrative impact, and the thematic resonance, it is exactly what Crocodile serves for Luffy a little bit later on in the story. This exact same phenomenon happens a little bit later on with Luffy's first match against Crocodile, but they just wanted to have it earlier with Garp here because maybe they didn't. What probably was they might have thought, man, we might not have a season 2, but now they're going to have a season 2 and Crocodile is going to be a thing. It's kind of weird because now we're just going to be getting a rehash of what they did with Garp when he wasn't even necessary. He bogged down the story. We could have had the cool Sanji character stuff. Had they cut out all the Garp shit. But again, there's just a lot of stuff I disagree with. And again, the Garp stuff, even Oda himself was very against. But they relented. They didn't relent for him, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I put the name of Sour's podcast in the description or the chat. By the way, a crime against art. That's freaking crazy. It's like 10 of these. So you can just imagine. Just relentlessly, brutally going at it.
That. Again, I would not go near that far. I haven't mentioned yet all the really cool shit they do. Yeah. With One Piece, like they do a lot of really cool new shit. One of the great things I love what they did with the bounty poster reveals, because for you guys probably haven't seen much One Piece, but with every character introduction that's like a pirate and that has a bounty, there's always like a bounty poster associated with them that you'll see. In the One Piece live action, they put it front and center as soon as you see the character, but they have a really cool edit for every one of them and how that poster is. It covers their face and then it's destroyed to re-reveal their face. And with every character, it's different. Whatever character does with their bounty poster, like with Mihawks, it's like sliced in a bunch of pieces. With Buggy, he punctures it and then like takes it off with his knives, throws it off. They do really cool shit with all the bounty. There's really cool technical shit they do with the adaptation that I'm a really big fan of. And if there's one thing I'm really excited to see is more of that attention to detail. A lot of the stuff is they throw in a bunch of Easter eggs for future stuff. Time and time again, there's so many Easter eggs already in the first season. Again, the attention to detail, I really enjoy. You can really tell these people that are making it do fucking love One Piece. And they are Giga fans. They only want to see it prosper. And they only want even the most hardcore One Piece fans to really enjoy it. Unfortunately, I'm a huge hardcore One Piece fan. I don't enjoy it. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just that it's not near as enjoyable as even some of the worst stuff in the anime adaptation, which is saying something.
I mean, even without like having seen a lot of One Piece, one of the things I definitely know about One Piece is how huge the reveals for the bounty posters are, like you said. Like, even I know that. Like, Luffy's had like 5 of them, and the internet like breaks every single time it happens, especially like the most recent time. I forget what it was, maybe like 10 million or something for Luffy. But it's happened like 5 times.
It's just like a spoiler, though. The last one was super big, not just because of his bounty raise, but because of a new status. That he has.
Yeah, true. Okay. Well, I know that
yeah, but I don't.
I would assume One Piece gets like at least slightly darker and grittier over time. At least it probably goes in waves, honestly. But like you said, the One Piece live action is more gritty.
The dark and grittiness comes and goes, right?
Yeah. Just like Hunter x Hunter is known for.
Especially, that's the case.
Yeah. I would say, so the One Piece live action, I'd say mostly positive reception, whereas Avatar, I haven't seen that live action yet, but it's been like mixed reception, and they did like the darker, grittier, they appealed to Game of Thrones fans angle as well. Why do you think the difference there is, or do you think it's like something else? I don't know if you've even seen it, but I'm interested in at least checking it out.
Yeah, I would have to actually watch it to tell you. So,
yeah.
I'm not going to comment on it.
It's interesting though, because like, from what I've seen, the live action seems good for Avatar. Like, it's been a lot of good praise and bad praise. It seems like it's mostly the writing elsewhere outside of the grittiness, because, like, the CGI is praised. Haven't heard any complaints on the music or choreography or anything. So it's at least a step up over the movie. But, yeah, I'd have to see it, too. But anyway.
The issue is you have to be not only highly sophisticated, but you have to be someone who dearly cares about these characters of these creators to do something at least on their level,
right?
Or not on their level, but near their level, right? The writers who were doing Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the two co-creators, they had a vision, and they were full stop into it. They were this was their world. This was their story, and they owned it. And you could tell with every piece of dialogue they wrote it was eloquent. It was well thought out. Everything, no piece of dialogue felt out of place for one character to say, because again, this was their world, it's their story. When you're writing, when you're reshaping dialogue to fit your new adaptation, again, you have to not only be well versed and sophisticated in the field, but you have to be enthralled with the universe and know it like the back of your hand. Otherwise, it's just going to collapse.
If I were to guess, they sold to the wrong streaming company. The streaming company just didn't have trust or reliability in them to do it themselves, so they did the traditional route of the streaming company. What they should have done is sold someone to Amazon who would allow them to have more creative control, because it doesn't seem like that's what Netflix or HBO wants to do. They want to play more safe, so they're not going to go out and do that risk. So it's really comes down to the production of it. In my opinion, just Amazon would have just been so much cleaner for the writers if they had the liberty or freedom to do what they wanted there. I think they should just try to sold to them more.
Well, here's what I'll say. It's constraint isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it can actually be beneficial for a lot of projects, as a matter of fact, because it makes for in that precarious situation, you'd be surprised in the level of ingenuity that people cultivate. I've seen it time and time again with especially game development in the earlier days. I think the Sly trilogy is a great example, especially with Sly, with their transition from Sly 1 to Sly 2. I've watched a whole documentary about it. It's crazy. The constraints they had on the PS2 and that architecture, but what they were able to do because they were constrained enabled them to have this insane ingenuity to cut around. They had to cut a lot of corners. They were constrained.
God. Is the stream cutting out again? Oh, there we go.
But
no, for a minute I was checking my Wi-Fi. I was like, wait, hold on, was that me?
Am I lagging out?
You cut out for 10 seconds straight.
Okay, that's fine. But I haven't seen the Avatar live action, but the last thing I'll say on the One Piece is, if there's one thing I can say, the script writing for the dialogue and the characters, it is mostly a hit, especially with Luffy. They did a fantastic job of taking the energy of pretty much most, if not all, of the characters, translating it to live action where it is not at all cringe. And I think that's why so many people who had no idea, even had no idea about One Piece ones, gravitated to it so much, because that romanticism is still there, especially with Luffy, but it doesn't feel cringe. It translated live action because they did a really good job at modifying the dialogue to where it still comes across with the same energy. It's just expressed in a way that sounds good in not only English but talked through a human body. Fantastic job there, and I can't commend them enough for that. That I think is where it's at its strongest.
My biggest concern is that obviously One Piece is very fun and it's more so focused on that and the more traditional Eastern methods of storytelling. So as a writer, I'm scared it's not going to be tight knit. It's not going to be a neat, clean sort of script, and then the pacing is going to be all over the place. So it's more so made for the fans than for people trying to get into it, is my guess. But maybe with it being a TV produced show instead, especially in the West.
It's very much again. This is shown with how many people who never saw One Piece that are on board with it now, especially the live action. And that was, again, it was when it came out, it was huge, way bigger than anyone ever expected. It was a huge hit on Netflix because a lot of people who've never seen One Piece went into it and watched it, and they really enjoyed it. So if that's not telling, I don't know what is, because we have we have the examples there. They're there. That's what happened. So many people that had no idea what One Piece even was enjoyed it.
I mean, as long as you have a solid base, the foundation's there. It's just about the execution at that point. That goes to the production company. You just got to find someone who knows what they're doing. If you find someone who's doing it for the first time, or like an indie company,
again, the people that are doing it definitely should keep doing it. There should be no changes there. The issue is it's more fundamental than that, and that fundamental issue is that no matter what they do, with the constraints of episodes from season to season, so that the pacing will have to be in such a way where they can't cover all of those finite details that really matter to a series like One Piece, and especially One Piece, because of those details, especially where we are in the story now, they accumulate until you don't even have one of those important pieces. Even if it seems like it's not very important beforehand, it accumulates, and to the point where you need all these pieces to make One Piece as great as it is.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I think it works more for that manga format, where you have like weekly chapters. Whereas like you're producing seasons, those seasons have to cover things. Like you can't just introduce something in season 1 then just not touch on it again until like season 8 or something. I don't think it's going to work for a TV show, especially for like the Western audience as well. But I could be proven wrong.
That's why they've already done it. They already did, even in the season 1, they did a lot of changes there. Their biggest one, I'm a big not fan of.
Well, you said like Luffy's grandpa?
I just don't.
That could be like it?
Yeah, it's like really, it's hyper unnecessary.
Interesting. Okay.
But I get why they felt it might have been necessary if they thought they might not be getting a season 2. That I understand. And if that's the case, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
even
still, not necessarily.
Yeah, transitioning sort of back to more towards the Boruto sphere, really quickly before we get into like the main meat here. Did you want to say anything at all about Code? Did we want to do anything there or nah?
No, really. I mean, I don't care much about Code.
No, I agree. Like again, I don't think it's very engaging of a conversation, but I think it's at least a fascinating conversation. So for reference, I was in like Hotboy stream earlier. We were talking about Code, and then like
I will be leaving soon because I am going to be going to bed here in a bit. So for whatever segment you have planned for me, we should probably get to it.
Yeah. So
in a little bit.
So we'll just move on to the actual Mitsuki stuff.
Okay, but before I leave, because I got to leave here in a second. Any pressing questions you have for me, if that matters?
So what were you? I don't want to like do something general or vague, but like just in general, what were your thoughts on like the whole Mitsuki part of the chapter? Do you think we should have got it last chapter when he was talking to Boruto? I think it was great now in retrospect that they held off on it on that chapter.
Because again, I didn't care for it at the moment, but that was fine because in retrospect, even just a chapter later, through having the dialogue with Ada, it made me appreciate that dialogue he had with Boruto more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's better to have him do it with Ada.
Actually fine this way.
So that's the real question. Would you have preferred, not like chapter, but would you have preferred Mitsuki to have had this conversation with Boruto or with Ada? I prefer it with Ada because of the parallel.
Oh, Ada, absolutely. You already know what I said earlier at the other stream about their connections, but it makes way more sense for Ada and Mitsuki to have that conversation because they're both playing the moon-like role with that metaphor, and then they were both chasing after Kawaki as their sun-like person. So it makes way more sense that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess Kamui just said everything Hotboy wanted to say.
Well, like
I said, I wasn't making up the connections between the sun and moon thing with them. Like they were always there.
There's even more explicit idea of him not understanding the emotion he felt for Boruto and him being able to actually contextualize it through Ada is really, really cool. So obviously he'd be talking about this through Ada because Ada was the one who kind of like a sun in a way. She illuminated that for him. And that illuminating energy is resonant with love, right? And again, in what I said in my stream at least is that that love doesn't necessarily have to even be romantic as far as Boruto and Mitsuki's relationship, because love can come in different forms. You have love for a comrade, love for a sibling, love comes in different forms. It's doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't have to have romantic implications, is what I'm saying.
No, actually, on that
I mean,
note,
Mitsuki could be gay. That's fine. Yeah,
well, on that note, did you see any of the spoiler translations, or have you only looked at the vids?
He didn't care about those.
I looked at the spoiler translations. It didn't really other than Mitsuki explicitly saying love when it related to Boruto in the viz, and that not being the case in the official. But I'm like 90% sure the people who were like translating were like, oh, love is in there, but that doesn't seem right. So they didn't translate that part. I'm like pretty sure Viz probably had the more accurate translation there.
There is one part they did mess up. Mitsuki, I'm 90% sure based off the context before and after that Mitsuki did not say I love Kawaki. They flip-flopped the pronouns. So I'm pretty sure Mitsuki said, I don't know why you love Kawaki to Ada. And then Ada explained how she feels about Kawaki, rather than Ada explaining how Mitsuki feels about Kawaki. Which is what Viz did. They like flip-flopped it. I don't think that's correct. Yeah. And Oodie, did you already translate that part?
We haven't got to it yet.
Okay.
But again, it's like
Oodie's official translation.
It's not just that part. Like, they butchered this whole chapter, even if you get the gist. Like, it's just like 25 different pronoun flips. Every word is just different. It's just awful.
Yeah, it wasn't just that one scene. They did it like 8 times. I don't know how many times, but they flip-flopped the pronouns multiple times in this chapter. I was amazed.
And essentially, the whole idea remained consistent of the chapter. So I didn't really get much different.
Yeah, it's not like a big deal. The main thing would be for the people that are gonna say, "Oh, Mitsuki romantically loves Boruto or Kawaki."
Yeah,
I don't think that's what they're going for. And even then, like you said,
even with the love statement, that's not at all what I got from it personally.
Yeah, because it's
a possibility, but
like you said, he could love him as a friend anyway. But I don't even think he said that to begin with. To be honest, I think that is a mistranslation. But like you said, he can just love him as a best friend, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that I don't think you saw this translation, but like Ada says that she's the one that flew over to Boruto's location. So that just never happened. Like, if you're just reading that, you would just have been confused because you're not thinking that's a mistranslation.
Yeah. Well, brothers, that's it. Yeah, I really liked this is my favorite part of the chapter. And if you want to see how I felt about it, you can go watch my fucking live reaction, because I gave another reason. Well, my main reason I loved it is because it's hyper thematically resonant to Naruto, like just the main manga. Of course, Boruto as well, because Boruto shares a lot of the thematic threads that Naruto had. But it's especially like it even goes back to a lot of stuff in Naruto, that whole conversation, the thematic idea of it, in terms of how Mitsuki came to this revelation, because essentially Ada's ability shrouded him more and more in the darkness of deception. And I talked about how deception and darkness are correlated, especially in OG Naruto. You see that a lot, and how the idea, if you fundamentally bring Naruto's thematic value down to like a simple sentence, it would be those who endure the dark to see the light, right? So we have to navigate deception, navigate that darkness to see the light, as in to mature, to transcend. And through that maturity, we can see a landscape far beyond we could before, right? And that is the light, in a sense. So this battleground that Mitsuki is having to navigate through, this deception on 2 fronts, right? Through Ada's ability, is going to enable him to bloom more so than he could ever before. And we're seeing the first manifestation of that through him coming to some revelations with these trials he has, relevant to his identity, right? So again, yeah, it's very resonant with that whole idea of Naruto.
In light of what you just said, I do want to ask you this real quick before you leave. If you had to pick a best moment or best scene in To Blue Vortex so far, what would you pick?
Best scene.
With thematically,
So I
speaking more from an objective stance, you could have your favorite be different too. But just like what you think is written the best.
you might be very shocked by what I have to say because it seems almost insignificant at first. It's the Rasengan Uchiha. And it's funny because he literally, the last video I have on my channel that got no views, probably because I did a bunch of One Piece content and I ignored Naruto for so long. No one cares about my Naruto stuff anymore. But in the last part about it, I talk exclusively about the Boruto and how he connects to Kushina and Minato, Minato specifically, and I don't know how much I want to get into it because I think it's very, very well put at the end of that video, in terms of what the Rasengan Uchiha represents, especially connecting it to the Minato one shot, is really fucking cool. Because when you get the information, it seems, because I saw everyone saying when that first dropped, like, oh my god, what are the implications of Boruto's power? Because it literally matches Earth's rotation. Oh my god, he's Earth level, and it's like, that's like the most boring read of it, because thematically it's so fucking cool. Because what it actually says on a thematic front is matches Earth's spiral, right? Who harbors Earth? Humanity. What does Boruto represent? He's like the last bastion of humanity, as a guy that's driving back this force that is trying to take over humanity and is now fighting against it, even against all odds, with his own comrades turning against him. He is like the last bastion for humanity. His own sensei is out of the picture now. And this guy, this last bastion, he through his reinvigorated drive to persist on this path of endurance in an age where it's almost forgotten now because of all these aliens taking over, and they're coming in for, and humanity is more on the brink than it's ever been before from being usurped by this new force, an almost parasitic force. And you have Boruto, who resonates an attack, and not only is it a combination from both of his mentors, Naruto and Sasuke, and the fact, Sasuke's Chidori stream that goes around him like the Chidori stream, right? It's a Rasengan like Naruto. But not only that, the idea that it harbors, like, how was the Rasengan invented, right? You go back to Minato and Kushina. Minato created the Rasengan exclusively with thoughts for Kushina. He was like, I want to make a technique that can protect my bond with Kushina, that can enable her to endure, so my love will persist. Right? It was a technique born from from the most pure emotion humans experience, that drive in us that keeps us grounded, even in the most deep of despairs, which is camaraderie, bonds, right? This is a pivotal theme in Naruto, is that, like, when you're isolated, when you're cut off, you have no chance to endure. It's only through distributing some of that weight with comrades, with loved ones. The Rasengan is a perfect encapsulation of that, especially with what we get in the one shot. Minato, the whole conception of the fucking technique was for her, right? And he uses that to save her from the Nine Tails, manipulation and wrath. And who even names it? It's Kushina. That Rasengan, the technique, it is a perfect depiction of that most pure human concept, right? He made it for her. She named it. And who do we have? Their grandson now, far in the future, just like his father before him, who through his own path of endurance, his own individual path, upgraded the Rasengan with the Rasen Shuriken. He uniquely, through his unique path, made it even stronger. And now we have Boruto, the new generation, who's doing the exact same and making it even stronger, because there's the times change. But even if the times change, what Boruto represents is that fundamental drive in humanity stays consistent. It keeps us strong. It keeps us robust. It keeps us standing, even when it seems like we'll fall at any second, right? And it's just like this fundamental idea of humanity that Boruto resonates by just exuding the technique. It's so cool. The explanation, again, it matches the rotation of Earth's spiral. Who harbors Earth?
I think
humanity. It's the technique of humanity, right? He's pushing it forward more
he's pushing that concept that Minato and Kushina created together to make the Rasengan, and pushing it forward even more by literally by encompassing all people, because Earth encompasses all humans, right? And it's so fucking cool thematically. And you'd think, like, by me just saying, like, oh yeah, the Rasengan is here, like, oh, this guy just likes cool powers. But when I explain it like that, and I correlate it with the Minato one shot, with Naruto and his own individual path and progressing the Rasengan, all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, this is so thematically, this is like the coolest fucking technique that's ever been created in Naruto, and it's in fucking Boruto. So yeah, there you go. That's my favorite.
So I actually like a lot of what you said, specifically focusing on humanity and the word endure, as you brought up many times. So for my pick, my favorite scene was the end of chapter 4 with Kashi and Koji and the Sasuke tree in the background. Because for me, that was like the best callback to the end of Naruto, what it means to be a ninja, to endure. Just keeping it brief. That is repeated numerous times in Naruto. A ninja is one who endures. And Kashi and Koji, in a sense, basically paraphrases Sasuke's dialogue at the end of chapter 699 about what it means to a ninja. Of course, you have Sasuke in the background as the tree. So Boruto's two senseis, both of which are probably like our best embodiment of what it means to be a ninja in Boruto, are his senseis. And in that scene with Boruto, who in the flash forward scene is the one saying, I'm still a ninja. So that was my favorite scene. It was like the best ninja theme scene.
Yeah,
That's a very rough explanation. But.
Because again, this goes back to what I first said at the beginning of this live stream, right? What did I say? I said shinobi are synonymous with humanity, right?
Exactly. That's why I liked when you said humanity, because that's ninja are humans, not tools.
That distinction and classifying as, no, they're one and the same, right? Shinobi are
duality of man.
Are not tools. They're people who endure. Naruto sides when the path of endurance prevails over the idea of an isolated tool, right? That's the whole conclusion of the Naruto and Sasuke fight. But
what I also like with Koji, though, is instead of dying as a tool, he chose to be a human who lived.
Well, yeah, this is what I was ending off on with this discussion. Is Boruto sells it right away with the introduction to the first chapter. Like, Kawaki's like, I'm going to send you to the same place. He goes, I'm still, despite everything, despite the changing times, despite the scene of the landscape around me completely desecrated, everyone I know is gone all around me, potentially my father's, and dad or whatever, sensei's gone. Regardless of everything, regardless of me even being mostly Otsutsuki at this point, I'm still a shinobi. I still represent humanity, right? It's humanity's persistence through that path of endurance, right? That is Boruto more than ever before represents that through his battle with these inhuman people, right? That threaten humanity being perished at any point, right? So it's in a cool way, it elevates that idea, because where in Naruto it was humans, everything was fundamentally human. Madara, no matter how godly he got, it was his human urge that made him who he was on his path,
proving him right.
Sasuke in the end, he was literally very human, like how godly he hailed himself to be. But with Boruto, pretty much most of the antagonistic forks, they're Otsutsuki related, right? So it makes a new interesting dynamic that I think further amplifies this idea of humanity's persistence, right?
Yeah, that's why I liked their Rasengan Uzuhiko weave into it, but that's why I liked the end of chapter 4. Personally, I think they've been doing it. They've given me a few moments that make me happy, but it's like I want more of that thematic feel to Boruto that Naruto had. And there's been some of those moments in part 2, so I'm really glad we got a few of them. Yeah. I'll add the Rasengan Uzuhiko to the list because I didn't really look at it from that perspective before. I mean, I noticed some of the things you said, but
I agree I agree with your answer in concept, but not in execution. In execution, I think this Mitsuki Ada scene was the best executed in terms of well-written scenes in Two Blue Vortex so far. But that's again just personal choice. Going back to the Rasengan though, since I'll just get away from that.
You have to understand, while even on a thematic level, I just kind of TLDR'd what I said in my stream and why I loved it. But again, for me, what the Rasengan represents, because I connect it to so many through line. I connect it to so many threads.
Yeah.
Naruto, who is he thinking about before he uses the Rasen Shuriken to defeat us? So he's thinking about Sasuke and like getting closer to Sasuke. And he uses that. Minato and Kushina, how Minato conceptualizes the Rasengan through his bond with her, and how that goes, and how that eventually leads to Boruto, the same man who, for the first time ever, truly got a glimpse of understanding of his father through that mutual Rasengan attack. Right now, he's using the Rasengan Uzuhiko, knowing more than ever before, understanding more than ever before the power of humanity, what that entails. Right, what that struggle is all about. Why it's like, again, like there's so much that go into it. For me, and this is why I've been really loving Bleach. It's when you have a very simple scene on the surface, but when you dig a little bit deeper, and especially when you correlate it with all these pieces of the past and the story, and it becomes all of a sudden completely different. That is the coolest shit in fiction to me. When I can piece together so many shit from like on the offset, the most simplest shit. Because again, it's just like a new, cool, insane technique. But it's when you pick up all the pieces of past material that it becomes so much different and so much cooler, right? That's not to say, because the Mitsuki stuff, admittedly, honestly, even though I didn't really care about Mitsuki before this, that's a close second. That is a close second. It is. But Rasengan Uzuhiko still, man, oh my god.
No, I feel you. Cool. If all that is there, I'll have to go back and reread it.
Goji is my favorite, but Mitsuki's not.
Well, yeah, I'll have to go back and reread it to see if all that's there. I think it's not even implied from what I remember. It could be there, but like conceptually, I do agree it's definitely the best answer. I think the best way they've represented it is actually not through this scene, the Uzuhiko. I think it's actually in the Naruto Road to Ninja movie towards the ending. It's the Rasengan being.
Wait, I gotta touch on what you just said before I head out. So themes are really complicated, right? So there's not going to be any. You're not going to see any. What I'm pulling from the explicit information is literally just the description of the technique, right? Because no one even says in the manga, oh, it matches Earth's rotation, and humans are in the Earth, by the way. And then they kind of like, it's like, oh, and then that's like, no, it's literally just, it matches the rotation, matches the Earth spiral, right? Well, right, like I take that and then I pull a lot of thematic, because that's what themes are, right? They're not cut and dry. Usually the best themes anyway. And this, again, going back to Bleach here, because Kubo is he has a lot of subtext, and you got to do a lot of pulling. You got to do a lot of work for yourself to get a lot of the thematic enrichment from the story. And I'm just doing the same thing I would do for Bleach here, right? Is I'm taking that concept and I'm thinking about, what did that spiral, the idea of a spiral, represent in that one shot we literally just got in the Minato one shot? What the spiral represented about hope and despair, right? How the two-dimensional spiral, what does it represent? It represents this endless cycle of suffering, the cycle of humanity, right? Death, despair. Any hope you receive, it's going to always circle back around to despair at one point or another. But with the helix, what is a helix? Now it's three-dimensional. And what does a helix do? When it's three-dimensional, it rises, it ascends, it's going somewhere, it's ascending to a destination. You just have to endure that ascent. No matter how treacherous the ascension is, you have to keep climbing, and eventually you'll see a scenery far bigger, far grander than you could ever imagine. And it's so, because then the spiral, that idea of the spiral, it's very resonant with the journey of humanity, being able to see that spiral not in a two-dimensional sense, but in a three-dimensional sense. And what is that spiral if not the very definition of the struggle of humanity? And Boruto's literally matching Earth's spiral, encompassing all humanity. He, as one individual, is encompassing the whole strength of the world, of humanity. Oh my god, it's so fucking symbolically cool, and it's so thematic, and it goes back all the way to the beginning of shit Naruto. Again, nothing